Okay, going to talk about some body mounting. As you can also see on the chassis, I've added the outside rails from here to here using the piano wire like I mentioned, and I added a little brace right here in the center. You don't have to. I just thought, yeah, you know what, I'll put one down here. We'll see what happens. I might put some wire mounts right here, something like that, or if you wanted a place to put some lead weight, you could make it bigger. Like I said, it's only your imagination that's going to stop you from creating your chassis. Now, as far as body mounts go, you can do it, many different ways. You can use solid pieces all the way down if you want to. A lot of people use that. In this case, I'm just going to use the straps, the brass strip like this, and they're about 2.5 inches wide, and we get that from our body. So, you just have to measure your body and find out how wide you can make your strips or how wide you want them. In this case, 2.5 inches. So we have it all ready. We're going to go ahead and solder these in place. Where do you put them? Well, that depends on the body and where you want to put them. You can line your body up like this, basically centered over your wheelbase there, just checking. And I like to distribute the mounts. So probably right about here, right there by that door, and then right about there, about a quarter, eighth, something like that from the wheel well. So that looks like a pretty good spacing. I would say it's right at, from inside to inside about 2 inches. So that's not bad. Yep, that'll line up just nicely. That's just me. You can put them anywhere you want. Okay, I just find it easier to drill the holes in the mounting strap before I put it on the chassis. You can do it either way. You can solder it in place and then do it, and I have before. It's just a little bit easier to work with. So anyway, I measure, and I just take a standard punch, get my center hole, do that, and then I make a little jig like this on my board, and then the strip goes in there, and I'm using 3/32. It goes right through there on my drill press, and the jig right here just keeps the strap nice and solid so it doesn't fly around. Once you drill that, just take a file, sandpaper, even an emery board, get a little bit of that flash molding off, make sure it's clean. You can even use a X-Acto blade and just to make sure you got that flash off of there, a little bit left over, so your screw or the body plate will fit cleanly. Okay, so you might notice that the ends here where you've drilled the hole and you've used the punch have a slight bowl effect, a dimple to them. Just put them on a piece of steel like this, making sure the brass is supported, and just take your hammer and tap them and just make sure they're smooth. Turn it over, do the same thing, and then you'll be good to go, just to get it nice and flat and flush. So now you can take your mounts, you can place them on the chassis, get it on your setup board. You can pin it out here, make sure they're even, and you measure on each side. And then you can just take a Sharpie, you can mark it. So if you want to take this back out and use clamps and clamp it in place and then solder it, you can. Or just the way it is, it's really easy. It's just the brass and it's very thin. You can just hold it and put your soldering right here. Just give it a quick tack and it'll flow underneath. Alright, and basically we are finished, at least with the basic chassis anyway. Went ahead and I cut this strap out right here so we could clear the motor, and I also cut the tubing here, of course, for the gearing. Finish that up, and then finally underneath here I decided to go ahead and I just added some bits of old tubing right here, and I put the wire in there to show you why. I'm just going to use that to keep the wiring nice and tidy and in line. It's just something I like to do. But the basic chassis is finished. Now we're going to add a strap here, reinforcement strap to the guide here later on when we set the ride height, but basically that is it. And remember, you're only limited to your own creativity. If you want to add some bracing back here, you can. If you want more bracing down below, you can. This is just a very simple inline chassis that you can build. Just take your time, but it's about as simple as it gets, mixing the brass with the wire, and you end up with a really good running chassis. So, well, we're going to continue on. We've got a lot more work to do to get our beach racer ready, but as far as the chassis goes, we're ready for a test run.